you're so wrapped up in taking care of them that you almost feel like, okay, well, my life is on hold and I'll take care of me once we get through
Hmm.
this. I have to focus on them until we get through all of this, and then I'll take care of me. But that
Yeah.
is not smart. And that's not a good way to do it. And so now I teach stress reduction techniques. You don't have to have a helper or someone around for you to be able to do. You can go in the
Hmm.
bathroom and shut the door and practice some of these techniques in just a couple of minutes and lower your stress levels, lower your blood pressure, and increase those endorphins. So there's a lot that you can do. There's no excuse.
Yeah, and it's a hard thing too because we want to take care of the people that we love. And when you can be one of those people that you love and take care of you, it makes it such a different experience. What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Well, welcome to the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Thank you for saying yes. Um, and for the listeners, this is like a blind date. We don't know each other. We're complete strangers. And yeah, so if you can tell me and the listeners a little bit about who you are and why you think you are who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Debbie Compton. I publish my books under Debbie DeMoss Compton because, as it turns out, there's another Debbie Compton who writes about the spine, and I don't know a lot about that except that it's like in your back and don't hurt it. And
Mhm.
so, so my books are Debbie DeMoss Compton, and I write about caregiver support. I create books to make the caregiver's life easier and to make their journey a little safer, more enjoyable, happier. And I got into that because I'm a three-time primary caregiver. I cared for dad with Parkinson's till he passed in his home. I cared for my mother-in-law with Alzheimer's till she passed in my home. And then this last September, I lost my mom after a 21-year struggle with vascular dementia. So I have been down the road of the caregiver. I understand the journey. I know what it's about. And I learned a lot of things late in the game that I wish I would have known earlier. And so that's my whole mission now is to get that information out to caregivers sooner so that they don't have to struggle like I did. I made plenty of mistakes. They can learn from mine. And
Yeah,
so I'm all about caregiver support.
I love that. And I feel like divine timing is at play right now because I got off about half an hour ago with another guest and we ended our conversation at with she's a caregiver for her husband. My mom's a caregiver for her husband, and she's navigating this. So he's had my stepdad has had so many different health issues. You name it, he's had it. He's had lung cancer, prostate cancer, stroke, heart attack, red man syndrome, cervical stenosis.
Wow.
Like his body keeps trying to kill him, and he's like, no. So my mom's been his caretaker, and after his stroke, his attitude changed. So he's like kind of mean now.
Mm.
Um, but I'm like to bring that back to what you're talking about, I feel like it's divine timing because this seems to be the topic of the day is caretaking and how to um the word coming to me is navigate it, but I
Navigate is
think
what I
it's
was
more
going to
than
say.
that.
Navigate the journey.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It
So,
is. And well, and the thing is, the biggest risk factor for Alzheimer's is old age, and we're living longer. So more and more people are
mhm,
getting Alzheimer's and different forms of dementia. So, and then you look at the fact that the baby boomers are aging, we're the largest generation. So there's that much more of a need for caregivers. And yet, we typically don't train caregivers. Caregivers usually are going about your life, everything's happy go lucky, and then it's not. At
yeah.
least that's the way it felt to me. And I was in business traveling coast to coast, and I knew mom had vascular dementia, but I had a plan in place, so it was all cool. I didn't even know enough to realize it was going to get dramatically worse.
Mm,
So that's the thing is more and more caregivers every day, and they need information and they need support. And that's why I
yeah.
run the Purple Vine to give them
I love
information, articles, support, and that's why I write the books.
That's awesome. So does the information is it both like how-tos, but does it also include like the emotional aspect of it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
because the how-tos are so important. Just learning how to deal with someone who doesn't want to take a shower, learning what you can do
Hmm.
instead, and learning all these little tips and tools and strategies just make your life so much easier. You can stop fighting with the person and start working with them when you
Hmm.
understand what's going on in their brain or why they're behaving in a particular manner. Then you can change it. But caregivers have to also learn to take care of themselves. And I feel like a little bit of a hypocrite when I say that because I was not good at it. I mean, the first 2 times I pretty much flunked, and then I figured it out by the 3rd time. So, because you're so involved in their care, you're so concerned over making sure all their medications are correct and administered at the proper time, and that they're eating a balanced diet, and that they're getting socialization and all the things.
Hmm.
You're just, I could tell you every pill that my parents and my mother-in-law were taking and the dosages and the whole bit, but then as far as myself, oh, well, I hadn't been to the doctor in 2 years. You know, I didn't have time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's a lot of what I focus on too in my consulting is to help caregivers find that time because there are ways and there are things available. You can't think about it. When you get really stressed, you tighten up, your muscles tighten up, your shoulders come up to become earrings almost, and it's hard to think clearly. So it's hard for a caregiver to come up with a good workable solution. And that's why I meet with them on Zoom and say, "Hey, have you thought about this? Have you tried that?" And I love it because you can see the light bulb go off in their head and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that." That's why I'm here.
Yeah. I love this because one of the things I teach is taking care of ourselves in a way to where it's not like I'm not going on a diet and doing this temporary thing. I'm taking care of myself and my health and my sleep and like all the things that come with taking care of your health so that when something unexpected is thrown at you, you can still do all the things to take care of yourself through that rather than, oh crap, this thing happened, now I fell off the wagon, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so, and and I mention that because, and I know I keep going back to my mom, but she's in it right now. And
Right.
I think it was before, I think it was before my stepdad had his stroke, but he was recovering from, he had a lobe of his lung removed from the lung cancer.
Oh
And
my.
then, so she's taking care of him and she gets pulmonary embolisms. And so now both of
Oh,
my parents, and she's like, I need to get out of here. I need to take care of him. And her nurse said to her, can't take care of him if you're dead. And that
right.
stuck. I think that's
Right.
she still struggles with self-care, but that was like a, oh yeah, duh,
Shock.
I need to take
Yeah.
care of myself.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
shock value because you don't think about that. You're so wrapped up in taking care of them that you almost feel like, okay, well, my life is on hold and I'll take care of me once we get through
Hmm.
this. I have to focus on them until we get through all of this, and then I'll take care of me because that's the way that I felt. But that
Yeah.
is not smart, and that's not a good way to do it. And so now I teach stress reduction techniques. I teach things that you don't have to have a helper or someone around for you to be able to do. You can go in the
Hmm.
bathroom and shut the door and practice some of these techniques in just a couple of minutes and lower your stress levels, lower your blood pressure, and increase those endorphins. So there's a lot that you can do. There's no excuse. I made all the excuses, and then I learned, okay, that doesn't hold water.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a hard thing too because we want to take care of the people that we love. And when you can be one of those people that you love and take care of you, it makes it such a different experience. Um,
Well, when you're
yeah,
tired
I was
and
just
worn
gonna go
out,
into
you're not the best caregiver. You think that you're doing what's
exactly.
best for them, but guess what? They know you're irritated. They know you're tired. They feel
Hmm.
that. And even when they've lost the ability to say words, they still feel those feelings. And so you're sharing that with them. Well, that's not the best caregiver. But when you're rested, when you've had a chance to take a little me time, doing whatever it is that makes you happy, then you're more cheerful and they can feel that as well. Then they don't feel like such a burden. Then guess what? You have less behaviors to deal with.
Hmm. Yeah. What would you say if you have a number one thing to start with in self-care for the caregiver? What would the number one thing be if you have one?
Get su- get support. Don't try to do it all by yourself. There are plenty of ways and people out there that are willing to help you. But we tend to, as caregivers, we tend to wear our little Wonder Woman cape. I can do it
Hmm.
all myself. I got this. I don't need help. And so, what I teach caregivers to do is take a little index card and write down everything that would be beneficial if someone would do it for you. Doesn't have to be even related to caregiving. Maybe it's mow the yard, cook supper one night a
Hmm.
week, whatever it is. Write down all these things, do the laundry. Maybe you hate doing laundry, whatever it is. Write it down, stick it in your purse, have it with you. And then when that person comes up to you and says, well, let me know if there's anything I can do for you, whip out that little index card and say, hey, is there anything on this list that you would be willing to do? And so that way, I'm not asking them for help. They offered. I'm asking, would you be interested in doing any of these things? So again, I'm not pigeonholing them into something that they don't want to do. Maybe they hate laundry. They would rather do
Yeah.
anything than, do laundry. But drop off food one night a week, hey, that's easy. I would love that. So we don't know. So we're giving them the chance and the choice. And it's a nice way for caregivers to be able to get that support. As soon as somebody says it, show them the card.
I really like that. Yeah. I want to kind of go into, please forgive me if I say this incorrectly from how you put it in your form of like what's your specialty. I think if
Okay.
I remember correctly, it said natural enhancement of brain health. Is that correct?
Oh, okay. Yep, I do that too.
Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit. I know it's
Okay,
kind of like a right turn, but yeah.
that's okay. Well, but it's connected too because when you're caregiving for someone, particularly who has a form of dementia, I think it's
Hmm.
always in the back of your mind, what if I get it? What is there anything that I can do to keep from getting it? And as it turns out, there's a lot of things that you can do to lower your odds. There's nothing that will
Hmm.
100% guarantee that you won't get it. There's just not. But if you can lower your odds, that's a good thing, right? So
Yeah.
the number one thing, the best thing that you can do is make sure you get at least 20 minutes of exercise every day. Exercise that gets your heart rate going. If you do that every day, you cut your risk of getting dementia, and this is incredible, by a whopping 50%. And that's not me that said that. I was listening. I was actually laying on the couch listening to these doctors discuss the latest what discoveries and sharing all the things. And that's when two of them said, yes, we found this through our research. 20 minutes a day of getting your heart rate up will cut your chances by 50%. The other doctor said, we've absolutely confirmed the same thing as well. And I'm like, holy cow, get up off the couch and let's walk on the treadmill to listen to the rest of this.
Yeah.
So, because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so easy. We're looking
Yeah.
for that little magic pill. Well, the magic pill doesn't work, but there's a lot of other stuff that you can
Mm-hmm.
do. And exercise is the number one. And in that too, I would say make sure you heard the part. You have to get your heart rate up
Mm-hmm.
because I have a sweet little friend that's like, I go walking every day. Well, I went walking with her one day. She's like barely moving, barely. I would call it a stroll, not a walk. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to be beneficial for you. You need to go a little more to get that heart rate up, whether it's you can ride a stationary bike or whatever, and you can do that in your home. So, there's a million things, calisthenics, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you get your heart rate
Yeah.
up a little bit. Yeah,
I
that's
love that
huge.
you mentioned that. I love that you mentioned that because so many people view exercise only as a tool to lose weight. And that's kind of like the people that I work with is helping them heal their relationship to exercise and food and not viewing these things only as a means to watch the number on the scale go down. It's
Hmm.
movement in our bodies is for things like that. It's for our health right now and it's for our health in the future. I saw this thing recently. It said, "I'm not training for my summer body. I'm training for my old lady body." But it's true. It's like
Yes.
the way I view movement now, at least for myself, is completely different than when I was in my 20s and trying to shrink my body as tiny as possible. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that you brought that up.
Well, absolutely. And when you think about it, because you get the heart pumping faster, that circulates the blood and the oxygen throughout your body better, which your brain has to
Hmm.
have both to be able to function properly.
Yeah.
So it makes sense if we just stop and
Hmm.
think about it. It's like, oh, yeah, that is really good for you. So,
Yeah.
and another thing is the brain exercises because we think about exercising our body but we don't think about exercising our brain a lot of times. And then we have some people that go the other extreme, and what they will do is say, well, I do a crossword puzzle every day. Okay, that's great, but you're not exercising all of your brain. You're exercising one portion of your brain that deals with crossword puzzles. You need to also exercise the portion of your brain that matches dots, that
Hmm.
whatever it may, Candy Crush,
Hmm.
you need to
Yeah.
do a wide variety of things. And you can frame that like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym and do leg day every day. That's not helping
No.
your entire body. So you need to do Sudoku and crossword puzzles and brain games and different things to exercise the different parts of your brain to get the most
Mm,
benefit.
that's a good point. Yeah. My son and I recently discovered a website that just has a whole bunch of those brain games on there for free. I mean, you have to watch ads, but
Yeah.
we've been doing those the last few days, and I'm like, this is like I feel like I'm doing something for myself.
You are. You are. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can do it when you're watching TV or whatever, because TV is just kind of like numbing, but you can do brain
Hmm.
games to get your brain some exercise. It's important.
Yeah.
And and even
Yeah. I love that.
another thing that you can do that's so easy is to just change up a routine. If you're sweeping the floor and you always have your right hand on top, switch, put your left hand on top. If you're brushing your
Mm,
teeth and you always use your right hand, switch and use your left hand. You'll be surprised. Your left hand doesn't know what it's doing. It's, the right hand
yeah.
does it on autopilot, but your left hand has to think, okay, up and down and up and down. And the reason that's so good is because you're creating new neural pathways in the brain. It's fantastic
Hmm.
for you to just do something that simple, just change a routine because we get into the habit, we get into the rut of doing things a certain way. I do it all the time. And if I cook a lot, and if I'm going to cook, I always hold the bowl in the left hand and I stir with the right hand. That's just what I do because I don't think
Hmm.
about it. Switch hands. then you find out the same way. It's like clunky. My left hand doesn't know how to make a smooth circle. My right hand can do this easy. Come on.
Yeah. And then you have the added benefit of mopping the floor afterwards because it got all over the
True.
place.
You made a mess. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
So I'd like to take last time we went right, let's go left. Um, are you this is a podcast of stories,
Mhm.
and are you open and willing to go deeper into your story as a caretaker?
Absolutely. That's how we learn.
Yeah. So, how how did it start? Let's go with how did it start, what you learned along the way, and how it brought you to where you are now.
Okay. Well, starting, I was in retail management, traveling coast to coast, loving life, had my plan in place. I was going to retire at that company. I had been there almost 15 years. Mom had vascular dementia again, but she was very high functioning, so it wasn't an issue. I had things in place. I fixed her pill box every week and, made sure they had food and stuff, and she could still microwave things and cook simple meals. So I thought everything was fine. And then I live in Oklahoma, and I was in California when my dad accidentally took my mom's pills. Dad had
Mm,
low blood pressure, mom had high blood pressure. He was nearly comatose and had to be rushed to the hospital. I could not quickly get there, which greatly disturbed me. So then go a little bit further, and I was on the other coast, and mom passed out at the Daily Living Center and had to be rushed to the hospital. I couldn't get there quickly. And so then the third straw, if you will, I was in Colorado. My mother-in-law, who was 83, she'd been having some memory issues, but we just thought she's 83. Of course, she's going to have memory issues. We didn't realize how bad it was because she lived about an hour and a half from us. And so when you pop in for a visit, it's easier for people to fool you. But when you're there
mm,
longer, you notice the issues going on. In this particular case, she locked herself out of the house in the middle of a snowstorm, did not have the mental clarity to go to the neighbor's house that she'd known for 50 years or so. Instead, she sat in her car until her daughter got home from work 6 to 8 hours later. We don't even know how long she was in the car. We're very fortunate she didn't freeze to death. So that was a wake up call that things have to change, that somebody is going to have to be taking closer care, watching them more closely, meeting their needs better. And as it turned out, everyone else had a life, uh, which I jokingly say that you know, I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it was not on my radar. It was not my plan, but it was God's plan. And it turned out to be perfect because my training and development background helped me tremendously as a caregiver because my brain works in that you see a problem, okay, let's figure out how to fix this problem and let's figure out a way to hopefully keep the problem from happening again. And so those are just the steps that I go through. And so that's the way that I was able to create so many things to keep my mother-in-law safe in the home because she was a huge wanderer. And, she'd escape at 2 o'clock in the morning. And,
mhm,
there's nothing worse than waking up at 2 a.m., hearing your front doorbell chime go ding, and you're like, oh no, where's she
mm,
going? And to rush out the front door to see her totally nude, scooting down the street just as fast as she can go. And it's just like, Are you kidding me? She can't even walk fast, and here she is just zipping along down the street. But thankfully, it's 2 a.m. Most of my neighbors were asleep, so nobody noticed. I got her back in, but it's like, okay, now we need to find a way to keep her safe inside because they tell you. Well, I researched, and what I found was put a latch up high on the door. Didn't work for her. She just pushed the chair over to the door and then climbed up on the chair. More dangerous, gonna fall and break a
yeah,
hip. So we just started just that creativity. I was able to use my creativity over and over with dad with hallucinations and delusions and seeing aliens tunneling into the house. And, so it was really using problem solving and creative skills. And so throughout the journey, when my dad had already passed away, my mother in law was passing, and I had hospice come in much too late because I didn't know any better. And the little hospice nurse saw the bed alert system that we created. And she says, "Where did you read about that?" And I just laughed at her. I'm like, "I didn't read about it anywhere. The stuff on the market did not work for us. So I had to make something that would." And she said the sentence that changed my life. She said, "You know, this would really help other caregivers if they knew stuff like this." And I was just
Mhm.
shocked because I thought everyone else knew it. I'm just the last one to the party. I'm the one who's over here struggling, trying to figure it all out. Everybody else has it all figured out. It's not true. And but I find, especially as I've talked to so many caregivers, so many of us feel that way. So many of you are like almost ashamed that you haven't figured out a solution to this. Well, it's craziness. It's not normal behavior. So, how would you know how to deal with this? And every person is different. They're different before the disease, they're different after. So, we have to have unique situations and unique solutions to solve our problems. And that just happens to be a specialty for me. And so I do the Zoom consultations. That way, they don't have to get their loved one out. They don't have to drag them anywhere. That's a hassle. Been there, done that. Not fun.
Yeah.
They can just wait until your loved one normally takes a nap, schedule your time to talk with me then at that time. Or, they say, well, he's not on a regular schedule. I just can't. Yes, you can. Let me tell you another way. Reach out. If you go to the church, there are little old people at your church that are lonely. Ask one of them to come over and sit and watch a movie with your loved one. They would love it. I would go and pick up the little lady, bring her to my house, sit her and my mother in law both down on the couch, give them their glasses of iced tea, and off I go. Sometimes I would garden, sometimes I'd need a nap, sometimes I needed to read.
Mhm.
That's a time a caregiver can schedule a time to talk to me so that I can help you find those solutions because there are workable solutions there. But again, when you're stressed out, it's hard to come up with those. It's hard to think of them. And I've seen a lot through the years and been through a lot. So odds are I have a solution that will work.
Mm. I love that. I really related to you when you said everyone else had a life. Um, I don't see myself as a caretaker, but I've been taking care of my father for 11 years. He's lived with us. He's very independent and also not. And so
Hmm.
I think my question, do you only work with people whose loved one has dementia, or is it all kinds of
No, no, it can be
okay.
anything because when you boil it down, caregiving is caregiving.
Hmm.
When the diseases may be different, but I don't offer medical advice. I don't get involved in that. That's what the professionals are for in that area. What I do is to help the caregiver have an easier life. So, regardless of what your loved one is going through, or if it's aphasia or stroke related or whatever, it doesn't matter. You still need help. You still need support.
Hmm.
And and that's you touched on something that's the biggest problem that I have in reaching caregivers is that we don't identify as caregivers. I didn't either. I was taking care of mom and dad and traveling up to take care of my mother-in-law from time to time, but I wouldn't have classified myself as a caregiver. I was just a
Hmm.
daughter helping out her parents. That's it.
Yeah, that piece.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it takes someone to say, are you going over there regularly? Are you helping with medications? Are you helping with meals or laundry? Are you supporting their daily life in any way? If the answer is yes, guess what? You're a caregiver.
Yeah. I just found that interesting because I always like use the example of my mom, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've been doing
Yeah.
this for 11 years.
Yes. Hello.
And I mean, I do point out he's pretty independent, but he is at a point now where he's independent in that he's a stubborn ass and he won't ask for help. But he's at a point now where he needs my help, and I'm gonna force him to ask me for help. I'll help him and he'll fight me. So there's that too. But also like he's so uncomfortable asking me for help and I get it. He says I don't want to feel like I'm useless. And I'm like, but
Right.
you can't walk.
Right.
You can hardly stand up, you know? And so
Right.
it's this, it's this balance, finding this balance of how can you feel as independent as possible while also letting me help you, since none of
Right.
my other siblings are going to do it
And they
because
oh,
they have
I'm
lives.
sorry. And that yeah, yeah. Oh, it's just us.
Yeah.
Well, and it
Yep.
is so important to let them keep as much dignity as they can and to let your dad do as much as
Mm-hmm.
he can possibly do. As much as he's still able to safely do, I would have him do it. And my mother-in-law was the same way in that she had to be doing and helping. She helped her whole life. When she was 82, she was cleaning the house for this little couple that went to her church because they were a little old couple who just couldn't do it anymore. And I'm like, "You're
Mm.
82." But so she had that need to help. So what I would do, I would take when I did laundry, I'd take all the towels and washcloths and then ask her if she would help me, if she would fold those. She loved it. She ate it up. They're simple to fold, and she could fold them
Mm-hmm.
up and do it. And then when she would get worse, then sometimes I would carry the basket in the bathroom, in the bedroom, and dump it out and throw it all back in there again and carry it back out again. And here you go. Would you mind doing this for me? Because it gave her such joy and it made her feel fulfilled. They can set the table a lot of times. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you have to change with their abilities because their abilities change. So when I first
Right.
started with mom helping set the table, I would carry the dishes in there because they're kind of heavy and didn't want her dropping them all the things. So I'd carry in all the stuff and put it on the end of the table, and then she would just spread it out to where it needed to be. And you could
Mm-hmm.
see the dementia progress because it got worse and worse. All the plates, for example, would be at one end of the table, and then silverware were down around the other end, and just all kinds of stuff. And you're looking at it thinking, "Wow, okay, this is wild." But we just made a game of it. When the family would gather together and come in, I'm like, "Okay, find your plate, find your silverware. It's a game. Everybody find what you need." And so, because you don't ever want to embarrass them, and you don't ever want to belittle them,
Mm-hmm.
but you do want to find ways to make them feel needed, make them feel like they are still contributing. So whatever that is.
I like that. Yeah. He's I mean, there's a lot more to him than just being stubborn, but I'll save that for another story.
My dad
Um,
was very
I
stubborn
didn't,
too.
yeah, I didn't really get to know him until he moved in with us because him and my mom got divorced when I was 7, so he was out of the house by the time I was 7, and then he came in 2014. So I think I was
Wow.
like 28, 38, 28. I was 28. So yeah, and just kind of
Mm,
learning who your parents really are versus the
hmm.
story you've had in your head of them. So, yeah, that's a whole
Yeah.
other side to the story.
Can be a
Um,
surprise.
but it's also part of it. It's part of the caretaking. Like you learn who they are, you know, and you
Hmm.
learn their stories and you learn
Hmm.
how they
And
lived
one of
their
the
life.
what exactly, and then one of the best things you can do is listen to those stories, learn the people involved in the stories, because later on in the disease, when they can't remember people's names, like my mother-in-law would do, and she would start to telling me a story again, and she'd be, "What's her name? What's her name?" And if I didn't know the name, she got very angry because
Mm,
she felt like I just wasn't sharing the information with her. And she was so frustrated that she couldn't remember the name. So if you
yeah,
learn the names, again, you can save yourself a lot of heartache because you can help them fill in the blanks and learn your person. That's so important. Learn their likes and dislikes, what they like to watch on TV and not, what they like to eat, what their favorite dessert is, what their favorite snacks are. If you learn all those things, you can make it easier on both of you as the journey progresses.
yeah. I love that. Well, I have one more question for you. And I ask everyone at the end of every episode, and I recently changed it, so bear with me. I
Oh,
changed how I
okay.
word it. If everybody on Earth stopped what they were doing and looked at you for advice, what would you say?
Oh, wow. Pressure. I would say if you're, let's assume that they're caregivers, okay? Can we do that?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say let go of perfectionism. It's not going to happen. It's not important anymore. Let go of that and show yourself the same compassion that you show others because we tend to be so hard on ourselves and yet we extend compassion to everyone else. So let's give a little bit of compassion to ourselves as well.
I love it. Beautiful beasts, Debbie Compton signing off. Until next time.